Hello and welcome to this Pulseway webinar, Pulseway RMM, the complete showcase. My name is Andy Elwood and I'm the Product Marketing Manager here at Pulseway, and I'll be joined by my colleague Sami Chowdhury, who's Lead Sales Engineer, who'll be talking you through the product. The purpose of this afternoon is to just show you the features. Some you may have seen Pulseway before, you may be new to Pulseway, but just to give you an overview of all the things that you can achieve using the Pulseway platform. If you have any questions at any time, feel free to use the Q&A function at the, which you'll see at the bottom of your screen, and we'll endeavour to answer any questions you have during the course of this. Otherwise, you know, we can always get back to you if we can't answer it this afternoon. So I'll just do a brief intro and then I'll hand over to Sami. So what's key about Pulseway? Well, I think one of the key things is simplicity is key. So we want you, if you're an IT department in a business, just to focus more time on supporting that business rather than to make it simple for you just to do your job, basically. And if you're an MSP, we want you to keep your users satisfied. You know, a lot of our users find that by our simple approach and some of the other things I'll talk about, their user satisfaction level does actually increase. And I guess the best way to start with simplicity is at the start. I mean, we make it easy for you to get started. We have an easy-to-use interface which gives you instant productivity straight out of the box. Some solutions might have, you may have to go through some training, compulsory training or onboarding process. That doesn't happen. It's very easy to use. Even I understood it very quickly when I first saw it. As I said, it's very easy to use. And also, it identifies all the endpoints so you know that everything is going to be managed. We do try to keep things simple. And one of the ways we keep it simple is, as we like to say, get more done by doing less. We have placed a big emphasis on automating. And two areas of automation. One is things that are repetitive, take valuable time, and just get in the way of doing really high value work, long-term strategic work, and also to be able to auto remediate issues. That is to be able to identify a path of ways to fix a problem in advance before it happens, so that when it does happen, it can be fixed automatically. That way users barely notice it can happen. Now, a lot of tools claim to have auto remediation, but some are quite simple. A simple trigger runs one script, that type of thing. We can have nested layers of triggers that can run a script, absolutely, but can also go down paths with various actions as well. And we can also use custom fields to bring in values from outside of the tool, which Sami will go through later on. As I said, we automate deployments. We have the automating tasks and scripts. We also can automate patching. Standard with the tool is our operating system patching, so you can actually create a patching policy to automatically identify when patches are available to ensure your patching is kept up to date. You can also automate backups with Pulseway Cloud Backup, and you can also automate reports. If you need to send reports regularly to your stakeholders, you can do that. Just set up very simply to send out a report at a certain day or certain time. As if you're an MSP, reacting quickly is your business. If you're an IT department, your company expects you to respond quickly because you're keeping the business going. So we provide a fast and effective way to learn about issues and be able to fix them quickly. As I said, we have auto remediation, but because we have such a focus on a mobile approach, we have the most functionally rich mobile applications in the industry, and you do almost everything from a mobile device. So you can receive the alerts, but hey, you can send an alert to a mobile phone. That's no good, but you can actually take immediate action. Or if you have some auto remediation paths already defined, you can set those off as well. So you can respond immediately wherever you are. You don't need a Wi-Fi connection, and it's all secure. We have secure protocols, so it doesn't matter but you can respond very quickly. So you can also check in real time. There's no delay. It's as if you're logged onto onto the main application. You can also check the status if you're monitoring things. If there's, it could be a particularly heavy time of the year, quarter end, year end, Christmas, that type of thing, and you might want to keep an eye on systems. You could do that. You don't have to be sitting in the office to do it. And we've built everything into this one simple interface. You can see as an example of the Apple interface there as well. We've got various things. So we're seeing if you can manage your endpoints. You can also remote control into users, so you can actually send files. You can chat with users. You can actually control their device and pick the screen they're using. We do full server management. We support Active Directory, IIS, Exchange, SQL, Hyper-V, VMware. We, as I said, operating system third-party patching, endpoint security. So we have partnerships with Kaspersky and Webroot that are integrated. We also have partnerships with other companies as well, but these are integrated into the tool, so you can run from within the same interface. With Pulseway Cloud Backup, you can do backup and disaster recovery, again, from the interface and even from your mobile. And if you use the Pulseway PSA business management system, which has as part of its features ticketing, you can now access ticketing from within the RMM solution without having to switch solutions. So you can actually quickly respond if there is a ticket coming in from a user. And even better, you can access that through your mobile phone. So again, wherever you are, you can respond to a ticket request. You can view and manage your ticket requests. And we support you all the way. We know that, particularly now, times are tough, so you can pay in your own terms. We are very open and transparent about pricing, and we have a Pulseway team behind you every step of the way. And part of that is, as I said, transparent, predictable, tiered pricing. It's on the website. No hidden fees. You get a dedicated support specialist, and we also have in-product support chat, so you can actually go straight from the product without having to come out, find the email address. You can just get support from within the product. So with that, I will share. I will hand over to Sammy.
Thank you so much for that, Andy. Hey everyone, this is Sammy here, and I'm the lead sales engineer with Pulseway. And I will be talking about all the functionalities that Pulseway remote monitoring and management solution has to offer. So I have shared my screen, and what you see in front of you right now is the Pulseway web page, where you would be setting up all your monitoring management requirements from. And once everything is set up properly, of course, you can go ahead and utilize the Pulseway mobile app or the dashboard for your day-to-day management. So under the download section, you will see which operating systems we currently have support for. So under the agent section, as you can see, we have support for everything ranging from Windows servers, workstations, to the Linux family, Raspberry Pi, and Mac devices as well. So once we talk about, of course, having the agents, we'll also talk about that how to go ahead and separate between the devices, because different set of devices, different kind of devices may have different requirements or settings that you may need to apply on them. So the first step would be going under the configuration section and creating organization sites and agent groups underneath that. So the organizations can be your company name. Underneath that, the different sites can be defined as the departments or locations. And then further underneath that, you can separate the machines into their own containers, which are defined as groups. So you will notice that under each group, there is a download section. The reason for that is that each group has a unique token ID associated with it, and in the agent installer, that unique token ID is embedded, which is used for installation verification. So when you are looking to install this agent manually, you will not need to enter any authentication credentials, because the token will do the validation on your behalf. So once we have the agent with us, we'll talk about the different deployment mechanisms that we have. Of course, you can download the agent. It's a simple MSI file, approximately 11 MB, very small in size. You can manually install it. If you're looking to share the link with someone, you can just click on copy link and share it with the end users, and they can manually do the installation as long as they have administrative rights on the computer. If you are working with a domain-based environment, you can assign this to a software group policy for the deployment. And if you do not have a domain-based environment, you can make use of our discovery and deployment, which works on a subnet basis. So what you'll need to do is you will need to start with installing Pulseway on one machine in the network. You will need to go ahead and add that machine as a probe. And once that machine is added as a probe, it will initiate an automatic discovery. And using ICMP protocol, it will discover the machines over the network. And you can select the machines and deploy to them by mentioning the remote computer's local admin credentials. And if the machines happen to be domain joined, you can mention the domain admin credentials. So these are the different mechanisms that you can use to have the machines installed on the target, to have the agents installed on the target machines. Now, getting back to the configuration section, once the machines have been placed into their correct containers, you will notice that this is the agent itself. This is the Pulseway manager. This is the application that needs to be installed on each machine so that you can centrally manage it using Pulseway. Now, you will notice that there's a lot of tabs and options on it. We don't expect you to go to each machine and enable the settings and the modules associated with what you're looking to monitor. So for that purpose, we give you something called as Endpoint Centralized policies. So these policies will contain majority of the settings that a local agent will contain. So depending on the different settings that the different containers, groups, sites want, you can have different policies created. And with each policy, there's a lot of key options provided. We'll talk about a few of those. So to start off with, let's talk about the status of the policy options. So you will see 3 status options. The square inside the square means that the policy is not defined, and whatever is enabled on the local agent level will take effect. If it is checked, that means the policy is enabled. And if it is empty, that means the policy is disabled. So few of the widely used options are, let's say, user chat, which allow you to chat with the logged in user. User support request generates a system tray icon that the end users can click on and send you a support request. This Pulseway RMM will register as an alert. And if you are using Pulseway Service Desk, this will move in there as a ticket. Of course, we have our remote control. This is Pulseway's remote control. We are not integrating with any other technology in the backend for this. You can enable that. And if you have a set of machines that have a requirement for privacy, so that the end users can define whether somebody should be remoting into their machines with or without their permissions, you can enable the user confirmation option as well. And the timeout value for that will be a minute. As far as notifications are concerned, so notifications, we give you more than 300 types of alerts and notifications, and they are separated by categories. So you can get into the specific category that you are interested in and enable the alerts associated. So things like machine offline, Windows patches pending, you have performance related alerts where you can mention the thresholds at which you want to receive an alert for things like RAM usage, CPU usage, drives running out of space, the percentage at which you want to receive an alert, as well as Windows event log alerts. You can set up the filters by keywords, by event IDs, or by sources. And once you have the policy properly created, you can go on to the group, the site, or the organization level and select the policy in the drop-down menu, and all the options within the policy will get applied onto the machines. immediately within 2 to 3 minutes. So that is about the settings related to the agent itself. Now, let's talk a little bit about teams and users. So Pulseway is defined as a multi-tenant solution, meaning you can have as many as users created within Pulseway with the access levels that you would want them to have. So your team members, even end users, can choose to have access on Pulseway. So if you are looking to give some members complete access to everything, you can create them as a built-in administrator. And if there are members that you are looking to give limited access to, you can create a user team for them. You can define which set of machines they should have access to. The access can be full or read-only. You can drill down to individual machine level if that is required, as well as for the machines that you have given the access, what all modules and functionalities should they be able to view and edit. So things like automation, AV, patch management, you will have complete granular control over what exact access should be provided to them. So under the server admin option, let's also quickly talk about the notifications and the audit log section. So the notifications that you enable under the policies section, the active alerts you will be able to see on this bell icon at the top right corner, as well as under the systems notifications tab. So these are your active alerts which have not been deleted from the system. However, let's say if you need to go back and check on maybe historical information about alerts that have been generated in the last month or 6 months, and even if you may have deleted them. So that is when you will go under server admin notification section, because this is historical data that is not deleted. So if you see it as active, that means it is still active in the system. If it says no, that means it has been deleted from Pulseway, and you can filter it down by notification category, by priority, and of course, you can go back in time for the amount of time that you're looking for, and once you have done the filtering properly, you can choose to export it in an Excel sheet. Audit log comes in conjunction with the teams and users, because when you are creating multiple users, you would also need to keep a track of the actions that those users are taking on the machines. So everything ranging from initiating a remote control session, creating a policy, running a command, all of those will be stored under the audit logs. So you will be able to see things like if an automation task was executed by someone, if a remote control session was executed, as well as you will be able to see that on which machine, which group, and by which user, date and timestamps included. And this is also historical information which you can filter down by these criteria and export into an Excel sheet. Now, coming into the system view. So once you've installed the agent, everything looks good, what all options are provided to you? So under the system tab, you will see all your machines. You can of course filter it down by name, by scopes, groups, tags, etc. So you will be able to see their status. For example, like is it online or offline? What is the uptime, operating system, display name? And this exclamation mark that you see is in reference to the priority of the alerts that are associated with the machine. So if it's amber, it means elevated priority alerts. If it's red, it means critical level alerts. And you click on a machine, you will be able to see a lot of real-time information presented directly to you. So we call this information real-time because the polling interval with the Pulseway manager is 15 seconds. So this is as good as real-time. So you will see information like the resource usage, the external IP address, hardware details, custom fields, which we will get to in a few minutes, notifications associated with the machine, the drives, the files within. You can start, stop the services, kill the processes, see all the event logs associated with the machine, run command lines, take remote control access, run automation scripts, which ties with the automation, which we'll get to in a minute. Also view the patch status, security status, applications installed, and perform operations like restart, shutdown, etc. And the exact same set of actions and options are made available to you from the Pulseway mobile app. So as you will see that it is the exact same set of machines, plus if you click on the machine, you will see the exact same information, all the same options to execute commands, including remote control. So to perform any of the operations that we just showed you, you do not have to be present in front of your laptop. You can perform operations directly from your phone itself. Now, getting into the groups tab. So of course, we created the groups under the server admin configuration section. So if you don't want to have the view by systems, you can collapse the view by groups. So you will see all the groups that you have created, how many machines are there in that group, as well as how many are online, offline. And you will also get the option to perform mass operations like restart all the systems in that group, shut them down, or send a message to all the logged in users in those machines. Now, getting down to tags and scopes. So technically, a machine can only be a part of one group at one time. However, let's say for some reason, if you need one machine to be a part of multiple containers, you can always go ahead and do that with tags and scopes. So tags and scopes, simply put, is a way of logically, quote unquote, grouping the machines so that you can run patching against them, automation against them, filter them, run reports, all of those functionalities. Let's quickly talk a little bit about the roles options. So roles options is related to the server modules that you will see on the Pulseway agent, the Pulseway manager itself. So this is in line with that Pulseway does server monitoring, Windows server monitoring extremely efficiently. And this is the reason why. So when you are installing the agent on a machine that has any of these roles that you see in the list over here, you should go ahead and enable the role associated. So say, for example, if you install it on a domain controller, enable the Active Directory module. If you install it on a Hyper-V host, enable the Hyper-V module, so on and such. What that will do is that will give you access to key functionality directly from within the console itself. So say, for example, for Hyper-V, you will be able to see all the hosts that you have enabled the monitoring for. You will be able to get into the Hyper-V host. You can see all the virtual machines that exist on it, their status. If a virtual machine is turned off at that point, you can go ahead and start it up, and you get to see a real-time live view of the virtual machines. So if you want from a backend access into the machines, virtual machines, without disturbing the logged in users, you can definitely go ahead and make use of this view. As well as if the virtual machine is already running, you can see, of course, the uptime, real-time live view, as well as things like what is the operating system installed, what is the heartbeat status, and perform operations like reset, shutdown, etc. And the exact same functionalities will be made available to you from the Pulseway mobile app too. So to showcase the same option, same host, status of the machines, and the exact same actions. So again, for the server modules roles as well, you do not have to be present in front of your laptop. You can perform the operations from your phones. Now, getting into a little bit of automation. So automation in Pulseway starts with scripts, and we get you started with a built-in library of 31 scripts. These are the scripts that we provide you, and you can go ahead and view the code behind these scripts as well in case that is required. You can, of course, modify them if that is needed. You can go ahead and write your own scripts. You can create your own libraries. The language options that we give you are Batch, PowerShell, and VB script. Okay, and for Linux, we give you language option as Bash. So you will notice that there is an option of creating input and output variables. Now that is in relation with custom fields. Now custom fields give you an ability to sort of input variables or have the outputs of the script stored into a custom field. So to create a custom field, you have, of course, give it a friendly name and description. And these are the 4 different types of custom fields options that we currently provide. It can be a plain text, it can be a number, it can be a Boolean value as yes or no, or it can be a date as well. By global, what we mean is that it is going to be global to the instance. If you want it to be per system basis, you can select it to be a system-based value. And if you are looking for it to be a global value, you can choose to have it read only or not if you do not want it getting modified by the output of a script. And you can choose to have it expired after X number of minutes. So let's say if you're looking to monitor the restarts of a service, that how many times did a service crash and come back online, you can say that after 24 hours, the counter should be cleared. So that's just an example of custom fields. So those are the custom fields that you can go ahead and input into your script. You can choose to create an ad hoc custom field value, or you can choose an existing custom field value that has already been created. And you can say that if that value, and you can say that in the script itself, you can go ahead and say that if there is an output, go ahead and save that as an output value. So that is just an example of how you can use custom fields within the scripts. And also just to let you know, with conjunction with the scripts, we also have our Pulseway forum. So you can always make use of this existing library of 400+ scripts that have been posted by our developers and existing customers. And you can always go ahead and request for a script. And this is a very interactive community. Somebody would definitely go ahead and assist you. Now, the scripts that you have created, something that you have picked up from the forum, you have written, or from the built-in library, you can execute them on individual machines if that is what is required. However, let's say you need to mass run them or run them on a schedule. You can always go ahead and assign those scripts to a task. You can select multiple scripts, which will run in a daisy chain fashion for you. So you can create a chain event. You can choose to select the set of machines that they should be running on the scopes, which we discussed a few minutes ago. These are logical groups. And you can choose to run it ad hoc or as per a schedule. And the schedule can be daily, weekly, or monthly. And you can even receive alerts if these tasks are successfully completing or failing. Getting into the workflows section. Now, this is going to make your interaction with the RMM that much easier, because workflows are essentially meant to resolve issues on your behalf, keeping into mind the actions that you have asked it to take. So when you're setting up alerts and notifications, you can go ahead and say that if this issue happens, if this alert is generated, you want this action to be taken. So of course, first of all, you will start with marking the workflow as active, giving it a friendly name, and the execution time. It's in hours. So this is to keep in mind that if you know that there are some scripts that may take, let's say, 2 to 3 hours to execute, but if they are taking more than that, that means the script is in a deadlock position, or there seems to be some code that is not executing as it is supposed to. You can say that it should not execute more than 2 hours, so that if it goes beyond that, the workflow will be marked as failed and exited. Now, getting into the triggers. So these triggers are in conjunction with the alerts that you create. So let's say if you're saying that if the drives are running at more than 90% capacity, send me an alert. You can set up a workflow trigger for that. Let's say if there are services, very critical services that you want to be notified as soon as they go into a stop state, you can say that the workflow action related to this trigger should be executed. So what all actions we provide you? So these are all the default actions that we provide, okay? You can choose to execute these default steps, let's say start, stop service. So whatever the service has gone into stop state, doesn't matter, just go ahead and start it up. Or you can make it more comprehensive and complex. You can set up conditions. And for conditions, we give you these multiple trigger parameters. You can do it by service name, description, by system tags, scope, OS types, things like that. And you can input custom fields even over here. And for the actions that you execute before the condition, you can even set up action parameters depending on the outcome of that action that you have just set up. And you can set up multiple conditions. They can be an and or logic, meaning that if these conditions are all met, what should be the execution? Any one of them is met, that can be the or execution. So depending on the condition output, if they are met, you can set up multiple actions. Again, it can be something like maybe run a script, run a task, or you can even say, delete the existing alert, send another alert, or go ahead and send an email. You also have the option of saying that if the condition criteria are not met, again, the same set of actions can be performed. You can also choose to end the workflow. So these are all the options that are provided as a part of the workflows. And under the workflow history, you will be able to see that which workflow has executed against which machine and exactly what path it took. Because if you are setting up a lot of steps, it will tell you that what path was taken. And as far as the mobile app is concerned, you will be able to see all your automation jobs that you create. That is going to be the automation task. You can go ahead and choose to execute them directly from here. And for the automation workflow history, very similar to what you see on the web page, you will be able to see that directly here, as well as what was the execution path taken in that workflow. Getting into the antivirus section. So for AV, we currently work with 3 AV solutions. We are partnered with 3 AV solutions. One is Kaspersky, other one is Bitdefender, and we have integration with these 2 solutions as of now. And the third one that we have a partnership with is Bitdefender, and we do not have an integration yet. However, it is on our active roadmap, estimated for Q1 of next year. So to quickly talk about how Kaspersky and Webroot would work with a Pulseway instance is, for Kaspersky, you will go under policies section. You'll say create Kaspersky policy. This is essentially you defining how you want Kaspersky as an antivirus to behave. Do you want to set up any exclusions, remove any trusted applications from scans? If you want to hide the system tray icon, hide it from control panel. Do you want the infected file to be disinfected or deleted? All of these workstation modules like scanning the incoming mail, the web traffic, do you want them to be enabled? Do you want to schedule any scans? How often do you want them to run? As well as if you want to receive alerts, if the protection is disabled, definition isn't updated for X number of days, or if there has been an active threat. And once you have the proper Kaspersky policy created, you can filter down your machines by all of these criteria, and then you can mass apply Kaspersky by selecting the policy in the drop-down. And once the installation is done, you have the option of running scan, cleanup, updates, enable, disable, protection, all centrally from within the console. For Webroot, what we do is, we'll give you access to the My Webroot Secure Anywhere console. So in this Webroot console, what you'll need to do is create something called as sites. And sites can be equal to groups, organizations, or you can have one site for all the machines. It's completely up to you. And on the sites, you can apply something called as policies. So policies is essentially how you want the AV to behave. Like, when do you want the scans to happen? Do you want the system tray icon to show up? Options like that. So once you have the policies created, you can apply them to the sites. And onto the sites, you will see this key icon, which has a key code. So all you need to do is pick up this key code, come under the agent status, and select install, and put that key code and select install. And your installation will be done. And similar actions like scanning, cleaning up, updates for WebRoot will also be available. And if either of these two systems, these two AVs onto the systems detect a threat, Pulseway will go ahead and send you a notification about it. So you do not have to keep a track of either the Kaspersky or WebRoot console. For Bitdefender, doing the installation, getting the install file, setting up the policies and the settings currently needs to be all done from the Bitdefender Gravity Zone console. So that's about the AV section. Getting a little bit into patch management. This is related to Windows patching and third-party patching and deployment. So to start off with, Pulseway Patch Management works in conjunction with the built-in Windows Update agent. That means we are getting the updates directly from the internet. So if you are using anything like a WSUS server or SCCM server, they will need to be decommissioned, and the pointing of the machines will need to be moved to the internet. So how you will control the built-in Windows Update agent? That is with policies. So patch management policies, again, for different containers, you can have different policies. And these are the options provided within. Like, do you want to create a restore point in case the updates break something so that you can revert back? Reboot the machine and notify the logged in user 5 minutes before. This is a hard-coded 5-minute timer. Randomize update interval is for network throttling to ensure that your network doesn't get overloaded. And this last option states that if a machine was offline during the scheduled patch management, to ensure that it gets the updates as soon as it comes back online, you can enable this option. You can set up a schedule, daily, weekly, or monthly for the patches to run. You can set up the exact date and time that you want the patches to run, as well as for the third-party patches, you can choose to have them run along with the OS patches or have a separate schedule for them. Coming back to the OS rules, you can go ahead and pre-approve or pre-deny the updates with the help of the severity assigned by Microsoft to the patch. These are the actions. By KB number, in case Microsoft releases a bad KB, or by description keywords, if there's a type of KB that you want being approved or denied month on month without having to manually update the KB number. For the third-party applications, this is our own solution. We are not working with any other technology in the backend, and we currently have support for approximately 120 applications. These are the applications that we currently support. So as you will see, these are all most widely used applications out there. So you can go ahead and select the application in the drop-down, whichever one you are interested in. We'll tell you what version of it we support right now and which operating systems is it available for, as well as do you want to update it, uninstall it, or install it. So you can do software deployments as well. And we do understand that there are thousands of applications out there. So you may have a requirement for an application that could be outside the list. For that purpose, we give you custom titles. So if you need to install or update an application that we currently do not support, you can go ahead and put in the direct MSI download link of it if it's a public application, or if it's a private application, You can choose to host it on Dropbox or G Drive. We currently have support for these two platforms, and that's it. It will become a part of your personal 3PP library, and you can perform the same actions on it: install, update, uninstall, the exact same steps. So, like, this is an example of a custom title. So that's it. That's how you create a patching and third-party patching policy. Again, you can go under agent status, filter down your machines, and then mass assign the patch policy to all of the systems in a single go. And as per the schedule, they will start running. Coming back to the organization, the configuration section, we spoke about applying the endpoint policies. You can do the same for AV policies and patch management policies as well, so that any machine that exists in these containers in the organization, site, or group level will automatically get the AV that you have selected in the dropdown for installation. And same goes for patch management, so that as soon as the machine lands in these containers, it will get the patching and the third-party patching policy applied. So you don't have to manually worry about assigning the policies or the AVs at a later point. The centralized policy management will take care of that piece for you. As far as Mac devices are concerned, we are working on the Mac OS and third-party patching. It is on our active roadmap, and it is estimated for next quarter. For the Linux, we have a built-in script that will take care of the Linux patches. So it is in our built-in library. You do not have to go ahead and write it. This one. Now, let's talk about a little bit of the reporting. So we give you template reports. So these are all the default built-in reports that we provide you. The template reports only work on Windows devices. The legacy reports work on all operating systems. So to talk about a few of the key reports in the template section, so we have the patching report that ties in with the patch management. So to show you the options within each report, you can go ahead and, of course, select whether you want it in a PDF or CSV format. You can select the set of machines that it needs to be running on. Do you want to schedule this to run on a weekly or monthly basis? As well as you can have it sent over to you, your team, or the list of email IDs that you have mentioned over here. And as far as the date range is concerned, for the usage reports, which contains like the patching reports, CPU, RAM, drive usage reports, to show you the historical information, you can go up to 90 days. We retain the data up to 90 days. So how you go ahead and execute these reports is just go onto the report and click on the play button. And the report will be available within seconds, and you will be able to see the information within the reports. So this will be white labeled with your logo. We'll show you which machine the policy was executed on, what was the policy name, and what all happened as a part of that policy execution. So which updates were found and installed, which updates were found and ignored. So if the machine was restarted, if there was the creation of restore point option enabled. So all of these step-by-step information you will be able to see in the patching report. We also have a Pulseway Cloud Backup. So this is powered by unit trends in the backend. So from this centralized console, you can choose to have a file and folder level backup initiated for the machines on daily, every 2 or every 3 days, and have it restored on the fly centrally from within the Pulseway console or from your mobile app as well. A little bit about the security side of things. We work with two-factor authentication, and you can choose to use the Pulseway mobile app for authentication, or you can use OTP applications like Google Authenticator. You can, of course, for all the user accounts that you create within Pulseway, enable two-factor authentication, enforce two-factor authentication to ensure that everybody is securing their account. And for the backend security, Pulseway only requires port 443 to be used. So you will not need to open up any extra ports or introduce any extra vulnerabilities into your systems, as well as everything that is transmitted between the agent and the Pulseway instance at rest or in-flight data is AES 256-bit encrypted. If you want to receive email alerts, the reports as emails, you can set up your mailbox details directly over here. And you can upload your custom logos, which will show up on the Pulseway web page, the reports, the dashboard, the remote control, the system tree icon. And finally, just to show you what the dashboard looks like. So this is the dashboard application. This is essentially going to show you all your machines and their statuses with the color coding. So this is something that you can blow up on a big TV screen and keep a track of, because with the color coding, you will understand whether the machine needs help or not. So red means there are critical alerts with the machine. Amber means that the machine has elevated alerts. Green means the machine is okay. You will see real-time resource usage, uptime, and operating system. Of course, you can use the Pulseway web page and the mobile app for the remote control. But if you need to take remote control directly from the dashboard, that can be done as well. Just say right-click remote control. It will show you all the active logged in sessions. You can select the session that you are interested in. There will be two-factor authentication. And from the Pulseway mobile app, this is what the authentication looks like. It's just a one switch click, and that's it. The session will be launched. It is going to be a shared session, so you and the logged in user will be looking at the same screen. There is this pop-up which you can use to chat with the logged in user, and they can chat back with you. As well as we have file transfer, which you can use to transfer files back and forth between the two machines. You can send Control-Alt-Delete command lines in case the machine is locked at the time you log into it, or if you need to switch the user or anything of that sort. And we have clipboard support, UAC support, and multi-monitor support. So that was a quick run-through of the product, everyone. So I will just go ahead and hand over the session to Andy, and he will take it further. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Back to you, Andy.
Thanks very much, Sammy. And I hopefully you all found that useful. Once again, apologies for the issues in at the start of this, but what I'd like to do is we do offer free trials, or if you'd like to have a personalized demo as well. There's a question there now. So if you do want to be contacted by a Pulseway expert to talk about this further, or would like to have a free trial, please respond to the question that just popped up on the screen. That would be very good. Again, I hopefully will see you on some Pulseway events in the future. And once again, my apologies, and thank you very much for your time and patience. Goodbye, and have a good rest of your day.